welcome to my channel. Hey, my name is Thaddeus. I am a tech junkie and I am here to help you navigate your way through your IT career, right? So the reason why I started this channel, it's not like we don't have enough tech channels out there, but one thing I saw that was missing was a channel that guided people, folks who didn't know anything about technology, whether they were, switching careers or they're just new graduates or someone who had done maybe some certification work and they were ready to jump into the field of IT, or they're currently in IT and they're just kind of at this place where they don't know what next step to take. I'm going to kind of give you some guidance on that, right? Step by step. So just like why should you listen to me? Well, I've only been in IT for over 10 years. I started from help desk, moved my way to junior network, then to senior network and systems engineer, then to the manager, and then finally to the director of network operations, right? I do have a lot of experience in IT. I also have even a patent out there. So if you search for my name under the US patents, you will see that I have a patent for the technology, right? I have a whole bunch of certs, including MCTIP. I have VMware's VCP, NetPlus, CCNP, CCNA, Security Plus. Just got my certified ethical hacker, and right now I'm studying to get my CISSP, right? So my method is a little bit different from everyone else's, where I'm going to actually show you the real world, right? As far as how to get into tech. I'm not trying to sell you a course. I don't have anything for sale. This is just me giving back to the community and just helping others get from where I was to where I am right now, right? This video is really for very close friends that I mentor, or family, or people who want to get into tech, who've been asking me the same questions over and over and over, and I wanted to kind of make this video for them, right? So just a little bit of what I do, and the methodology that we'll take, the approach that we'll take is as a manager and a director, right, for where I was at my previous job. One of the things that I always did is I always hired from within. So I never hired talent from outside to come in to be any of our engineers or systems administrators or anything like that. I would always hire from within, and I would hire from the help desk, and we would train those folks, and they would come on, they would work for a couple of years, and some of them would leave. They would work for places like Red Hat as engineers, Flexential, Hulu, Disney Plus, Amazon, Royal Caribbean, as well as others, right? So they're leaving, they left that environment to go work for some pretty large and well-known companies, right? So the methodology that I have proven that it's worked, right? And I've managed, probably had about 16 guys that are reporting to me, right? So this method has worked quite well, right? It's proven that it's worked quite well. I've had enough success stories to be able to confidently share with you how to get from wherever you are to wherever it is that you want to go in IT, right? So this is not some 8-week boot camp. I'm not trying to sell you anything. You're actually going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to take, I would say, between anywhere from 2 to 4 years to become an expert, depending on your aptitude for technology and also how much work you want to put in, right? So the reason why I say 2 to 4 years is because, well, we could train you in 8 weeks and give you some boot camp, but in 8 weeks, what do you really know? What do you really understand about technology? Probably not a lot. And you're not going to be confident going out into the job market, especially with competing with people who have, over 10 years plus experience, right? Because that's where the real money is an experience, right? So what I want to do is just give you a track about 2 to 4 years where when you're finished, you will be sort of an expert in technology. My methodology is pretty simple. How I teach it is pretty simple. What we're going to do is I'm going to recreate a real world example based on my experience in technology and what companies are using out there. And I'm going to train you just like I train all my help desk level 1 guys, all the way from help desk level 1 all the way up to senior engineer and further. All right. So what I'll be teaching you is I'll be teaching you just like concepts, not the specifics. So for instance, like I'm not going to teach you how to build a server. I think there's plenty of information out there of how to build a server, right? You can always Google these things. There's so much information on YouTube. There's no reason for me to create yet another video of how to build a server. They are out there, but rather what I'm going to teach you is how to put everything together. So an example I would give you of what we're going to do is, for if consider a network or infrastructure like a city, right? A city has what? It has roads and then it has buildings. So the buildings would be the infrastructure, right? It will be the applications, the databases, the web servers, all out those make up the buildings, and then the roads, the sewer lines, the electricity, the gas lines, all of that will represent the network, right? What is what connects everything together and what makes everything work. So you might have building A over here, which is an application that needs to talk to building B over here, and they need to talk through the connectivity, right? So that's what we're basically doing. What I'm going to show you is how to build a city, right? And so who is this for? So this is for anyone who wants to get into it's just into tech, into certain fields, right? So anything that has to do with cybersecurity, if you want to be a sales engineer, if you want to be a cloud engineer, if you want to do network and systems engineer, if you want to be a DevOps, DB administrator, or anything along those lines that has to do with systems and IT and any branch of IT, that's where I come in. What I want you to do is have a deep understanding of how the entire infrastructure functions, right? So it will give you a baseline foundation to help you understand how everything works together, right? Also, anyone who's studying for a technical cert that has to do with any of those areas, whether it be, like I said, networking, cloud computing, anything like that, CCNA, anything that's to do with cybersecurity, this is going to help you immensely, right? One of the things that I noticed that when studying for my cert is that sometimes the information doesn't make sense. You're just studying and it just seems like it's information. And I was talking to one of my colleagues, and he was studying for a test. I think he was studying for a CISSP, and he said, listen, he just can't get into the book. Like the information is just like nothing but just words on the page. And I told him this is how I was able to get so many certs, is because what? My trick is to build a lab, right? So the lab will help to bring alive the knowledge that you're learning, and it'll help to cement all of the concepts it is that you're learning from the book, and it makes the knowledge applicable, right? So you're just not studying words on a page. These words are going to come alive. You're going to actually put them into practice, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is, what we're going to do is build a foundation. So we're going to put together a lab. I'm going to show you everything, right? How everything comes together. Every piece of tech that you need to run an enterprise, right? So everything that you need to run an enterprise, from the storage and the networks to the servers, to the applications that run on the servers, to the firewalls, out to the internet, every single piece of tech that it takes to run an enterprise, every single piece of tech that it takes to run an enterprise, we're going to put together, and we're going to create a lab, right? So the first thing that you'll be doing, right, is we're going to build a lab, and you're going to build a complete business. Is going to be a business that I would say maybe between 20 and 500 employees. So your typical mid-market company, right, which is your typical company in America. Right, so I'll break it up into parts, of course, so that it's easily digestible for you. So part number one, what we're going to be doing is we're going to cover the networking, which for all you CCNA guys, the firewalls and IPS, IDS, VPNs, things like that, virtualization for you guys who study in VMware, Active Directory for anyone who's studying for the MCATIP or any of the Microsoft certs, file and print servers and services. Then we're going to do stuff like storage and all the things necessary to build an infrastructure up from the ground up. So that's what we're going to be studying. Part two, we're going to get into more of the applications like email, application, databases, working with the ticketing systems, monitoring systems, backups, WAFs, VoIP, even some VoIP, all that. We're going to get into that. But for now, let's focus on part number one. So what it is that you're going to need for this lab. The first thing you're going to need is, if you look over here, what I have a switch. You're going to need a switch. This one is Cisco. For those of you studying for your CCNA, I would recommend you get something Cisco. Get like a 3750. You can find these on OfferUp, Craigslist. I normally would spend about $50 for it. You don't want to go much higher than that. Just get a U switch. It's fine. As long as you can enter commands, that's what you want. Make sure that whatever switch you get, that it's a manage or a smart switch, because we're going to need to do specific things on this that are applicable to the real world. So you don't want to get a switch that you would use for your house. You want to get a switch that is a managed switch, right? I would recommend Cisco 3750, or I think is 2950. Either one of those. Just make sure it's a gigabit switch. The second thing that we want to get is a decent computer, a PC. With that, we're going to use to virtualize, and we're going to, this is going to be our server per se. Our server, firewall, everything is going to be in here. I chose a Dell Optiplex 9020. I would say i7 or i5 with at least 16 gigs of RAM. 32 if you can would do. Doesn't matter to me, but we just need something that's virtualization capable so that we could run our virtualization on it, right? And that's all the tools that you need. And then what you'll do is you'll just join me back here, and I'll show you step by step, not the actual installation, but I'll tell you what to do step by step. I'll give you some of the guides, some of the documentations, so that you can follow along and you can build yourself a lab that mimics the real world, the real enterprise world. I'm excited to show you this journey because I know that it's going to get you from where you are. You're stuck. You don't know what to do. You don't know your next step. It's going to get you from there to definitely 6 figures and above. Yes, sir. All right. That's it for now. I'll see you guys on the next video.